All right, everybody, how's it going? Back here with another edition of my collection videos. We are going to finally be in the regular black metal section. So this is basically all your straightforward black metal and, things in that nature. So it's going to be A through D, which is not a huge part. It's probably going to be 3 parts of the collection. And in the background, we are listening to Midnight Syndicate's Vampire. Midnight Syndicate, you probably find these at your local Goodwills and stuff like that. They make really cool spooky synth music, kind of symphonic music. I wouldn't go so far as calling it dungeon synth, but they basically describe their sound as soundtracks for movies that don't exist. So basically, if you like horror movie soundtracks and dungeon synth, check out Moonlight Syndicate, or Midnight Syndicate, sorry. You'll find this stuff super cheap and basically every used bin you go to in most places. We're going to be drinking a heater, going for the brewski today, barrel-aged Imperial Stout from Dusterbeck's Brewing Company. I'm a big fan of Dusterbeck's. They're one of my local breweries that I don't want to say that I regular because I don't go there all that often, but I've had the pleasure of brewing at Dusterbeck's before with my work, and super nice guys, family place, you gotta love it, what's not to like. And barrel-aged stouts is my favorite kind of beer, so I'm very glad to get a bit of the small batch, very full pint Nostrovia. Oh yeah. Oh, dude. Love a barrel-aged beer. Love a bourbon barrel. All right, so let's get down to business here. We got 2 from Abbath. Here's his self-titled album. I picked this one up off of Born Dead Collection, being Melanie Loves Death Metal's distro. This one's out in Season of Mist. I actually like this one quite a bit. A lot of people think this is garbage. This album in particular, I would argue for, because I really do enjoy this one. It kind of has like the Immortal later era feel with maybe a little bit more traditional metal influence. And, people say Abbath writes Kiss riffs, which maybe a little influence. Maybe it's the major tonality that he uses in his melodicism, but this is a really cool one. I mean, Winterbane was like the debut of Abbath coming back, but Root of the Mountain is cool. Count the Dead, Ocean of Mounds. Yeah, absolutely awesome record. Wouldn't say it's a top anything really, but it's good. It's a good record, man. And the other Abbath one that I have is Outstrider. Haven't been particularly as impressed with this one. It's decent, there's some cool tracks on it, but it's really not the most impressive thing in the world. So this is where I kind of start to see the complaints come in from people. I don't remember who sent me this, but they sent me a note on the back of the sticker for I don't know, some kind of radio show, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm not revisiting this very often, either of these Abbath records, even though I do like the self-titled one quite a bit. It's a really interesting listen. It's more fun than it is something to really get into, It's not like you sit there contemplatively sip your beer and stare off into space record. These are fun. This is a killer record. So this is, I don't know how to pronounce this name. Christoph told me once, but it's Avertia. Really good modern Norwegian black metal. This pressing is from Norwegian Dark Arts. I know Avertia has another project going at this point. I haven't talked to Christoph in a bit, but this is really good. Kind of imagine all of the black metal parts of Moonsorrow kind of combined into a record without the folky elements, other than maybe in some of the melodic choices. Also, I got it signed, which is always cool to me. I'm a big signature guy. I think they're really cool on CDs. So check out Avertia if you have not. Next is Carpathian Forest with black shining leather. This is about as meat and potatoes of Norwegian black metal as it gets. There's some rock and roll elements, but this is just, I'm absolutely wasted on stage, participating in all kinds of debaucheries, kind of black metal. It's not bad. I don't really listen to this kind of stuff this much these days. I've kind of lost interest in this kind of black metal for a lot of the case. And I do love quite a bit of it still, but I tend to lean more towards the little more interesting black metal. And I get this sounds derogatory, and I guess I don't know if I would call it derogatory, but you know, Carpathian Forest. Here's another one from them. This is Strange Old Brew. I've listened to this maybe once since I've had it, and I just never felt the need to really revisit. I don't know, man. But yeah, it's just Carpathian Forest doing more Carpathian Forest material. Next, this one made some waves the other 2 years ago, but this is Realm of the Night by Chamber of Unlight. This one has made so much traction on Werewolf Records. I think I got this one from Melanie Loves Death Metal as well. It's, you know, it's okay. It's Dark Adversary style black metal, Werewolf Recordings style black metal, and I like some of the werewolf stuff, and then some of the werewolf stuff I don't really care about. But yeah, Chamber of Unlight. I still have a lot of it though. All right, Clandestine Blaze, Night of the Unholy Flames. This kind of falls into the camp of Dark Throne worship to an extent, with maybe a little bit more of a aggressive tendency, you know. Kind of in between Dark Throne and Judas Iscariot's later era, I would say. And this is it's pretty good stuff. Like I said, I don't listen to that much of this kind of black metal these days. So, Clandestine Blaze. Now this one, I really like this one. I'm really selective with this kind of raw, straight up black metal these days, but this one is ridiculous. This is Terror Propaganda by Kraft. Some killer Swedish black metal, just absolutely nasty stuff, really well written and nightmare fuel black metal. Yeah, Kraft, doing Kraft. All right, one that I just had to own, and then I listened to it and I wasn't as impressed as I really wish I was. But this is to embrace the vampiric blood by Crimson Moon. I picked this up. This is the new Dark Adversary reissue from last year, I want to say. You know, I've heard so much about this being an American black metal classic, which obviously, not to take away from it, it actually is quite a bit of an American black metal classic. I don't know, man. This style just doesn't hit the spot like it used to. Drop the dang CD. Here's another one. This is Under the Serpentine Spell. This one has a very distracting drum machine. I think both of them have drum machines, but this one in particular is kind of hard to listen to because of that. And it's very prevalent. And, you know, I like the Tish, Mortician, and things like that, and some really, you know, lowbrow, brutal death metal stuff. But I don't know, man, it just doesn't hit right on that. But check out that album cover. That is sick. This is such a good album cover. It's way better than the original one as far as I'm concerned. So if you're gonna reissue it with an album cover, first off, make sure the original one was terrible cover. But make sure you do it well. All right. Another band that I used to listen to a ton of and really don't anymore. This is Henbane by Cult of Ghoul. I was obsessed with this band for a while. I thought it was terrifying. It still kind of is. It's crazy black metal. Really nightmarish and uncomfortable. It sounds ritualistic. But yeah, Henbane. And then this is Sinister. These are the only two Cultical CDs I have. I have Spectres Over Transylvania as well on LP, but this one, I haven't listened to this one much. I don't know. I just never get in the mood for this kind of really straight up black metal these days. Even though this one's a little bit more one of a kind than all the other straight up black metal bands. All right, we're about to get into probably, this is a top 5 black metal band of all time for me. The Kings, Dark Throne. Some of the greatest music ever made has been made by the likes of Fenris, Nocturnal Culto, and Associates. This is the Frostland Tapes hardcover digibook. Just so good, dude. So this is a bunch of demos. The Land of Frost from 88, New Dimension from 88, Dolcandra from 89, Cromlech from 89, Live in Denmark in 90, and the instrumental version of Goat Lord, which makes me not need to buy that reissue that happened last year. There's really no reason for it. This is out in 2008, so it's been a while. Anyway, yeah, it's a really cool collection of demos. Darkthrone was so good on their demo ages. They nail every style that they do. I mean, the newer stuff isn't as exciting as obviously their older material, but I still like it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I respect the crap out of them. They are true metal guys. Whether they're stuck in the 80s and 90s or not, couldn't care less. Darkthrone rules. And Blazing in the Northern Sky, I don't have Soulside Journey because I'm holding out for the special edition Digibook, which I just haven't managed to get a copy out for a price I'm willing to pay. Gotta have it. Has the Fenris commentary on it, which is what I'm holding out for. I love the Fenris commentary discs. And I don't have all the Darkthrone albums yet because I'm holding out for the ones with the commentary. And you know, now they're kind of pricey. This is an amazing album. I mean, there's not a single thing to complain about here. The cat's trying to steal my beer. I guess that's something to complain about. All right, Under a Funeral Moon. This is my favorite of the black metal trilogy in the Darkthrone discography. This is amazing. This is like the blueprint of what black metal should sound like in this style, as far as I am concerned. It is so good. I can gush all day about Under Funeral Moon, and obviously there's not a single thing that I can really say about it that hasn't been said. I mean, it's just too good. It really is just too good. Here's the fan favorite of the trilogy, Transylvanian Hunger. Again, blueprints. These three are just top tier. Almost dropped it. More digibooks, not very exciting packaging. More Fenris commentary, which again, I find endlessly entertaining. It's part of the reason that I got so deep into Darkthrone is, you know, sometimes it's really helpful for me to get to know the bands personally, indirectly personally, I should say, in a album. And those commentary discs make you really enjoy Fenris's personality for me. This right here is my favorite Darkthrone album, Panzerfaust. I don't have the edition with the commentary, which I will get eventually, but I had to grab this guy. It was a Moonfog press for like $8 when I saw it. Still with this crap on it, so really nice, good shape version of the CD. I love this album. I mean, my favorite songs on here would be the Hordes of Nebula, which is my favorite Darkthrone song of all time, but the song Quintessence is on here, which is another one of my favorite black metal songs ever. I would probably argue Quintessence is in the top 10 of black metal songs of all time as far as I'm concerned. Amazing. Alright, here is the released version of Go Lord with the commentary as well, and this is it's an okay album. It's goofy, it sounds experimental, which I kind of appreciate from Darkthrone, because they've never been afraid to do weird stuff with their style, and I really do respect that, whether I like it or not. I respect the fact that they're willing to go for it. And that's kind of something I always carry when it comes to bands. If you're willing to try something, I want to like it. Like, I didn't like the newest Imperial Triumphant when I first heard it, but then I revisited it and I was like, I really was all about it. So Darkthrone, killer. A little more of the throne. Don't worry, we only got 5 more from Darkthrone. This is The Cult is Alive. This is another one of the most replayed ones that I have. I absolutely love this album. This has Too Old Too Cold on it, which is a great song. Whiskey Funeral is fun. The Cult of Goliath, I don't know, man, this is just great crust punk influenced black metal with the most useless lip bass in human history. Typical Peaceville. Quit that. You guys need to fix that about yourselves. It's just a killer album. I love Darkthrone's eras. I really do like the crust punk era, and I'm not a punk guy. You guys probably are well aware of that fact. I'm not a punk by any means. I like a handful of punk bands, and it better be really good for me to actually care. Even some of the classic bands, I'm like, whatever, I just don't even care. So maybe one day I'll become more of a punk guy, but stuff like this really puts me in the mood for it. FOAD in the European Super Jewel case or whatever they're called. Greatest band photos ever as usual. Darkthrone great with those. This isn't the commentary version, which I'd like to have. I don't only have the commentary versions as much as I would prefer it to. This is great, dude. I absolutely love this one. I think Canadian metal is so fun. The Canadian metal! I don't know, dude. This is just beer drinking, fist pumping, blackened thrash, blackened crust punk, blackened traditional metal, whatever it is that you want to call. Great stuff. Arctic Thunder. I remember when this came out. I think this was the first album to come out as I was a fan of Darkthrone. It might be Circle the Wagons, which I have on LP. I don't have the CD, that one. Again, I just haven't gotten around to it, dude. These aren't always just laying around in stores, and if they are, they're like $18 for a CD, and I'm like, oh, dude. $18 for an album that I'm basically getting for completionist reasons for the most part. I mean, I like it, but I'm not gonna put it on like I would some other stuff. This is a great record though. All right, I really liked this album a lot. This is Eternal Hails. I haven't played it in a while, but I really liked this album. Hate Cloak is great. Voyage to a North Pole Adrift is so good. Lost Arcane City of Upikara, or whatever that is just so cool. I love this kind of spooky melodic black and doom metal that they're going for on this album, and they just nailed it as far as I am concerned. I know people are gonna be like, oh, you just love it because it's Darkthrone. Dude, if I heard, I don't know, some random obscure band from Portugal and put this record out, I wouldn't care. I'd listen to it and I'd be like, that's great. My love of Darkthrone is because they make such good music. My love of Darkthrone isn't just because of the fact that it's Darkthrone. Because if you guys know my opinions on certain things, like I will outwardly say I'm not huge on Megadeth, I'm not huge on Carcass, I don't like Deicide really at all. I'm not afraid to say I don't like classic bands, or I'm not as impressed with classic bands. So that's not my love of Darkthrone. That's not why I love Darkthrone, it's because they're Darkthrone. Last one from this band, Astral Fortress. This one was not very exciting. I am not gonna lie to you. This was not the most exciting album I've ever heard in my life. Out here, what is that called? Some kind of nonsense that they're doing, you know, what is the word? Ice skiing. Good golly, dude, I couldn't even think of it. But yeah, this wasn't the most amazing album I've ever heard in the entire world, but it exists and we're stuck with it now, so whatever. I love the fact that the back of the CD says no metronome since 1987. Hilarious. I love Darkthrone. All right, so within the Sylvain realms of Frost, the one and only Demon Sea album I actually care about, and even then it doesn't get played very much. It's pretty decent black metal from the USA, originally from South Carolina or North Carolina, one of the Carolinas, and then they moved to, I believe, Oregon. Again, not particularly important. I couldn't care less, but if they are Carolina boys, I bet they don't see a lot of this around them. But yeah, it's just black metal doing black metal, keyboardy on occasion, whatever. All right, this is great. This is Djevel. I have no clue how to pronounce this name, but this is a great Norwegian black metal album. This is put together so well, and it's so densely melodic, so re-listenable. There's just something about this one that really hits the spot for me. This band is relatively new. They're from the 2000s, I would say, if I remember right. They might be older than that and just haven't been particularly prolific. I don't remember, but they're really good Norwegian black metal, leaning towards the melodic side of black metal, but it's really well put together. This is definitely something you could argue with me and tell me it is melodic black metal, and I would absolutely believe you. This is Mörkvinter by Domgård, or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce A with the umlauts over it, especially in the Swedish tongue. My Slavic blood, even though we share similar heritage, if you look at the historical records, the Slavs came from the Norse countries as in their migration path. So I guess I feel a kindred spirit to the Norsemen. It's really awesome. Swedish black metal, dude. Swedish black metal is hard to argue with. Norwegian black metal is amazing as well, but Swedish black metal is really hard to argue with. And all of these are going to be one band that I used to listen to a ton of and really haven't listened to much of, other than the occasional thing here and there, maybe once a year. But this is all Drowning the Light material. This is Lost Kingdoms of Diabolical Serpent Spells. I have no idea what this is actually. I think it's just a compilation of a bunch of different stuff. You have Diabolical Winter Spells, Rise of the Black Serpent, Lost Kingdoms of a Dark Age. Yeah, just Drowning the Light, doing Drowning the Light. What is this one? Alignment of Dead Stars. If I put on Drowning the Light, this is usually one of the first candidates for it, because I've always really liked the song Drinking the Sacrament of Eternity, which is obviously a song about Vlad the Impaler. Obviously you wouldn't know that unless you really know this stuff, but you know, Drowning the Light, out of avant-garde music. This is a reflection of the past. It's an EP, limited to 500 copies on our Dark Adversary. I actually ordered this from Dark Adversary, which, by the way, if you're ever like thinking to order something from Dark Adversary and you live in America, don't do it. Go get it somewhere in America, because it was a terrible idea to wait 6 weeks for 4 CDs to get here. It was just absolutely ridiculous, because there's also a cap on how many CDs you can order at once. So it's not like you could be like, oh, I'm gonna make this shipping, this $25 shipping really worth me doing all of this extra, you know, ordering and waiting and being anxious about the fact that you might not get it. There's definitely a possibility, but it's, you know, more of what they do. You guys getting this? Killer in the background. All right, this is Dead Souls and Moonflares. Another comp. Oh no, this is just a EP, I believe. I thought this was a comp. Sorry, I'm getting things mixed up here because I have so much of this. And you know, every Drowning the Light record is very similar to an extent. I mean, there's eras. The beginning was really simplistic and kind of sketch, and then the mid-era got really good melodic black metal, and then later they've been doing this weird kind of spooky vampiric thing. But yeah, I haven't listened to this in a while. This is crazy. This is From the Abyss. This is possibly the best Drowning Light material that there is, as far as I'm concerned. The production is upped a decent amount. It's not clean by any means. It's still pretty raw, but this is like very audible. Everything makes sense. You know, your ears are enjoying the fact that you're listening to this nasty, ferocious, melodic-ish black metal, and great album covers. You can usually tell how good a Drowning the Light album is by the level of effort that went into the album cover, like this and Beneath the Waves, which I don't own. You could just tell that these guys are like really going for it on this record. Okay, Vekilasi Rising. When it starts getting real werewolfy. Great artwork. Actually, funny enough, when I bought this, I showed it in an update, and for whatever reason, the artist who did this just randomly managed to have stumbled on my page, and she was in the comment section like, hey, thank you so much for your kind words about my art, I appreciate it, all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's super cool that y'all just found my video randomly. So that's kind of cool. All right, this is amazing stuff. I really like this new Egyptian Sumerian trilogy of Drowning the Light. A Gleam in the Eye of Set. These yellow album cover ones make a whole lot of sense to me. They are just great spooky EPs, chock full of all kinds of crazy keyboard layers and cleanish vocals, like spoken word vocals and like chanty wails. Wild. This is On Astral Wings of Vampiric Shadows. Again, this band is a breeding ground for collector scum, because there's so much stuff. You can have so many albums that sound the exact same by the same man. But yeah, this is a good record. It kind of holds strong on the keyboard effects of like previous records, but it makes it more about vampires, which reminds me a lot more of like the Strigoi album that they put out. I have on LP over there. I don't have the disc for it, the CD disc for it. I actually probably like that Strigoi album more than most of every Drowning the Light album that I own. So if that means anything to you, check out this Strigoi album because it's really, really cool. And then the last one for this video here, this is World Devourer. Another one of those kind of Egyptian themed albums, ancient mythology themed albums with all kinds of interesting, weird looking stuff on the cover. Very odd, very different. You don't see a lot of this yellow coloring on a lot of black metal albums. All kinds of symbology, meaning all kinds of different things, obviously. But yeah, so that's everything on this part of the shelf, y'all. I'm going to call it at that one because I've been yammering for 25 minutes already. So I'll catch you on the next one. Keep it greasy.